If there was no limit, what would you be? And what do you think is the biggest issue with the Black community? Do you think that Christians can go to therapy? Will you travel without your husband when you're married? Will you vlog your honeymoon? Do you believe speaking in tongues is biblical? Do you ever struggle with sexual purity? How do you keep boundaries and still know you are attracted to one another? Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today is the Q&A and I'm so excited to go through some of these questions with you guys. I am in a different location today. I'm in the spare room today because I just wanted a different vibe for this video, to be honest, guys. And I've managed to get the house completely empty. I live with 4 people. No, I live with 3 people, but on a normal day, there's about 7 of us here. So to get the house completely empty was a mission in and of itself. But I managed to get it nice and quiet so I can properly film this video for you guys. So make sure you sit down, you grab your cup of coffee or your tea or whatever drink you want. We're gonna have a little cute, cozy catch up. If you wanna listen to me whilst you're on the treadmill doing a hot girl walk or on your commute to work or whilst you're cleaning your bathroom, whatever you wanna do, that's absolutely fine. But I just thought it'd be really nice to get cozy, comfortable and catch up with you guys. Let's get into it. So the first section is random because I really got some that I was like, okay, I can't really put these into any section. But the first one was, how old are you? I am 28 years old. In my head, I'm 27 still, and I think I'm gonna be 27 for about 3 years because every single time someone asks me, how old are you? I'm like, 27, but I'm actually 28 and I've been 28 for at least 4 or 5 months now. If there was no limit, what would you be? And I think this is to do with career. So, good question. If there was no limit, financially, obviously, I would do YouTube full time. YouTube is my favorite thing to do, making videos, whether 0 people watch them or 1,000, a million people watch them, actually recording like this, editing it, uploading it, like it gives me adrenaline. Like I love it. It's my favorite thing to do. So if I could do this full time and be paid to do it, I would do that. The next question is a very random jump, which is why I had to put it in the random section. But it was, what do you think is the biggest issue with the Black community? Which I just felt like I don't know where I would even put this in this kind of like thread of questions. But I honestly think that's a bit of a loaded question, if I'm honest. I think that every community is a product and a result of its experiences and its situations. But honestly, to be honest with you, I don't think there's any issues, so I won't address issues. But I think one thing I think would further and better the Black community is access to better mental support and therapy. I think that we as a community owe it to ourselves to put ourselves in positions where we can get that kind of support, not just for like mental issues like per se or a diagnosis per se, but like just for like understanding and self-awareness. What is your go-to cuisine? My go-to cuisine is, well, so my favorite cuisine is Thai food. So I love Thai food. Lamb masaman or a lamb like Thai curry pad Thai vibe is my favorite cuisine. But I would say day to day, if I'm craving something like this is so bad and this is as a result of my relationship, it's usually chicken and chips. I'm still from South London, okay? You can take the girl out of South London, but you can't take South London out of the girl, okay? I love chicken and chips. But I would say like my favorite cuisine is probably like Thai food. So yeah. Who is your favorite person? And then they put in brackets, not Shola. And I know who this is from. It was actually from my friend Becca. So I love you, Becca, if you're watching this. But yeah, that was all like the random questions. So next we kind of go into lifestyle. And the first question was about therapy. So someone asked me, do you think that Christians can go to therapy? And my answer is quite simply yes. And I think it's healthy for Christians to go to therapy. I started going to therapy 2 years ago, and it's one of the best things I've done for myself. My life has dramatically changed since I was going to therapy. I would suggest it, but I do think it is a luxury to go to therapy. And even though earlier I did say I do think it would really help the Black community, I think therapy is something that not everyone has access to, and I think it's really important that whenever we're being advocates for therapy, we recognise the community we're speaking to. I do think that Christians go to therapy. I think that obviously having Christian counsel is really important, and Christian accountability is really important, but let's be honest, like within the church we don't always have all the tools to support people in the ways that they need it. And so that's why I think it's really important that you seek actual like professional help as well. So the next question was, in your vlogs you are so active, how do you balance doing so much? And the truth is I don't. So I let myself down a lot, and I let other people down at times. I would say I'm much better at not letting other people down than myself. I don't manage to balance everything, and yeah, that's just the truth. Like, I heard something the other day which I just have been living by, and I've been saying it to everyone, but you can, there's a thing what people say, which is that you can't have everything. You can't have everything. You can't have the relationship, you can't have the nice car, you can't have the nice house, the good job, the passion project, like and kids. You can't have it all, but you just can't have it all at the same time. And I'm a big advocate for it. But it is a lot, and I'm not always great at doing everything, and so I have to recognize at different times I'm gonna have to let different people down. But I think the best thing you can do is to communicate and to really prioritize very well and to time manage very well. Do you have any book recommendations? Yes, I do. The 3 books I would say I have read that have the most impact on me and are, I'm gonna do 4 books because I just can't, like, they're all so good. Number 1 is Mere Christianity. I swear by it. It's by C.S. Lewis. It is quite literally my favorite book, and my mum actually got me a candle for Christmas that has a C.S. Lewis quote on it because, like, I'm obsessed. Second is Reason for God by, that was a 3, but I meant as in like second out of 4. But anyway, the second is Reason for God by Timothy Keller. If you are a Christian or a new Christian or a Christian that wants to evangelize more, that is quite literally the best book to read. It gives you so many answers for so many, you know, like popular questions that people have about faith. Third is Screwtape Letters by C.S. Lewis, another really good fictional book. So if you're coming into your faith once again and you want to kind of have a better understanding of, not of faith, it's a fictional book, but it kind of I can't even describe it to you. It's a book that kind of plays on the devil's role in trying to pull us away from God, but it is quite literally incredible. So yeah, Screwtape Letters by C.S. Lewis. And the third book is 7 Myths of Singleness by Sam Albury. I would suggest every single person on this earth read that book, whether you're single or not single. I think it is one of the most incredible books to read. It is one of the books that helped me the most with my singleness. It really helped me have an understanding and a gratefulness with my singleness. And I would say it's just a book that really helps us as a community know how to better be there for people who are single. And when I say single, I don't mean just like not currently dating, but like in a season of singleness. So like whether you're in your late 40s and single, or whether you're widowed and single, or whether you just feel like you're called to a life of singleness. It is such a good book. It is absolutely incredible, and I swear by it. The next section is travel. So the first question is, where is your number 1 travel destination? And I actually got this question a lot of times. My number 1 travel destination is definitely Kenya. So if you know me, you know I really want to go to Kenya. I really want to go to a safari. It is my dream destination. And I actually originally wanted to do that for my honeymoon. But as time went on, I was like, actually, I think I want to do that at a time where I don't have so much going on, so I can really plan it well and really enjoy it. But yeah, I really want to go to Kenya, and I really want to go to a safari, and I just really want to enjoy the Kenyan food. I want to go to Nairobi. I just want to really like live that life. I want to say one of those hotels where the giraffes like come into your room in the morning, not like into your room. But yeah, you guys know what I mean. The next question is, will you travel without your husband when you're married? / will you still solo travel? Yes, I will be. So, although I love and I'm so excited to travel with Shola, yes, I will be, because solo travel is really important to me. And actually it was one of the best things I think I got out of my season of singleness, was that I do like being in new environments on my own and having to figure it out. I don't see myself doing it maybe as much or for as long as I have in the past, but yes, I will still be solo traveling. And I am actually, like, literally I think it's like 2 months after we get married, I'm going on holiday with my friends. So yeah, I will be traveling without him, you know, with other people. And guys, to be honest, I encourage him to do the same. Like, I always tell him, like, you should go on trips without me, like you should build up that, like, you know, independence. And you know, he is someone that you know, he's open to it. He's not, you know, he's very much like, it's fine, like, do your thing, he's gonna do his thing, and we are married, we will be married. And that's just something we spoke about really early on. I think it was like 2 weeks into our relationship is when I went to Italy, and yeah, he saw how I was living before I met him, and he knew what it was, and he is very much on board, very supportive. The next question is, will you vlog your honeymoon? Good question. This is a good question because I probably will vlog it. Will I upload it is another question. I don't know. I'll definitely record it, whether it goes on YouTube or not, I don't know. But yeah. Would you and Charlotte ever move abroad? Yes. So we have spoken about this. Do we have any concrete plans to do it? No. Are we open to doing it? Yes. When? I don't know. But as of right now, we haven't got any set in stone plans, but it is something that we're both open to. So yeah, we'll see. So the next section is faith and all things faith related. So the first question is, what is your favorite worship song? Very easy to answer. My favorite worship song is So Will I by Oshi Berry. I just don't get sick of it. I don't. No matter how much time passes, I just don't get sick of it. That is like number one favorite worship song of all time. Or do you know what is really like a solid bit of worship? You know the bridge of What a Beautiful Name? You have no rival. You have no equal. Sorry, what? Now and forever. What? No, don't even get me started because I will sing right now. Anyway, that song goes off. Next question. This is a big boy question. I don't think this is one for this Q&A, but anyway, I'm going to answer it very quickly. Is, do you believe speaking in tongues is biblical? The answer is yes. I think it's biblical because it is in the Bible. I think it's in 1 Corinthians 12 where it speaks about gifts of the Spirit. Do I think it's practiced in the church in an authentic / revering way? No, not always. Most of the time not. I think people use the gift of tongues, or what they believe is the gift of tongues, in a way that is not necessarily in line with scripture. But like I said, that's not something I'm going to go into today. That's just my opinion. I do genuinely believe some people have been given the gift of speaking in tongues. What is your favorite scripture? My favorite scripture is John 1. That whole book, that whole chapter, but the first 14 verses, God really just ate that right up. Like, he really was doing his thing when he wrote that. So yeah, that's it. And now the next question is such a sweet one, and I feel so honoured that someone would ask me, but do you have any tips on having a strong devotional life? Let me tell you something, girlfriend. If you think I'm the person to come to about a devotional life, I am horrendous. Like, this is something I have been absolutely working on the whole 8 years of my salvation, and I still can't get right. But yeah, if I was to kind of summarize it, my tips would be, number one, actually love God. It's not just about serving him, it's not just about knowing he's God, but it's about actually having a love for him. And that comes through actually actively trying to see what he has done, not just for you, but others and all of us. The more I love God, the easier it is to find time to sit down and spend time with him, because I enjoy it more. And I see my relationship with God almost like I see my romantic relationship. The more I give, the more I get. And what I mean by that is not like materialistic things or just like in terms of receiving what I want, but it's like the more I give to God, the more I pour into that relationship, the more I get out of that relationship. But I would say don't see your devotional life as just that 30 minutes to an hour in the morning. If that's not what works for you, don't force it. It's not by force. Always seek God in the morning, but that might look different to how other people do it. So if that means 20 minutes of worship in the shower, a quick prayer, and then in the evening you do your Bible reading, or if that means I don't know, lunchtime prayer. There was a time in my life where I didn't pray in the morning really. Like, I did a quick prayer obviously, but my main prayer time was in my lunch break, and I would just go to the prayer room in the office and I would pray for 45 minutes from there, and then I would quickly eat and go back to my desk, and that was my devotional time. Because the mornings I couldn't do it. Like, I started work at like 9, I had to leave the house at 7:30, and I couldn't get myself up at 6 to do devotional. So I just changed it and I did what worked for me. And the more I saw my devotional life as something that was flexible and flowing and a moving thing, rather than like a set thing that always had to stay the same, is the more I grew with God. But it is something I'm always working on, and it's something I'm devoted to getting better at. The next section is purity. Yeah, this is where it gets a little bit more interesting, but we'll go into purity and then we'll get into all the relationship bits, and we'll kind of flow through. But the first question is, how has your view on modesty changed since you've matured as a Christian? Modesty has been something that is just a topic which I'm working through. I think as of right now, it is a very much every day I put on my clothes, and whatever conviction I feel in that moment is what I do. And that doesn't mean I have never disobeyed him, because Jesus knows I've put on a few outfits that in myself I have known, take it off, and I have still left the door. So I'm working through it. If I'm actually being 100% with you guys, I feel like God has been putting big conviction on my heart about consumerism and consumerism culture and how much I feed into it. And to be honest with you, if I had any convictions when it came to clothes, it's less about the clothes I wear and more about how many clothes I own and is there a need for it. Yeah. Now we're getting juicy. How do you define purity, and do you think it's more than abstaining from sex? Absolutely. I think purity is so much more than not just having sex. It is literally about your mind. It is about defiling your body and your mind. And it's not just about sexual purity, it is about purity as a whole. Like, it is as a whole. And yeah, I just think that abstaining from sex is one form of demonstrating purity, but you can abstain from sex and still be impure or living an impure life, if you get what I mean. Like, you can not be having sex but still be having thoughts of someone daily. You can be abstaining from sex but still be getting drunk every weekend on alcohol. That's not purity. You can be abstaining from sex and still be speaking words or swearing, or you know what I mean? Like, you can defile your body in so many ways, and I think purity is all about having your body and mind in line with the Spirit of Christ. And I don't think just abstaining from sex is a sign that you're pure, if that makes sense. But I think it is a very important part of purity, because it kind of gives you a standard and it kind of gives other people an expectation. So I'm very open about my celibacy. I have not had sex in 8 years. And that is something I'm very open about. And it's because when I am open about it, it forces other people to hold me to a certain standard. I can't say, oh, I don't have sex before marriage, but every single week I'm on holiday with my partner. Girl, be for real. Be for real. Like, you know what I mean? So I am very open because I think that accountability helps me. But I think if I just did that, but was still doing all of these other things, people wouldn't take my purity seriously. And that would be very discouraging for me. I think purity is a heart thing. It's a heart posture, because someone can have slip-ups and can fall into sexual sin, but still be pure before the Lord because of the way that they repent and they posture themselves and how they live their life following it, if that makes sense. So yeah, do you ever struggle with sexual purity? Now, this is a good question, because it depends on how you define a few of these words. Struggle, I am the child of the Most High. I do not struggle. Sexual purity, I'm going to count it as anything that is, I don't think honors God. So to that degree, yes, I do. Obviously, I'm not going to share the details. It's just not really necessary. I think that's Shola. Let me get the door, guys. 1 second. Here he is, guys. You know what we're talking about? I'm doing Q&A.
Oh, the Q&A?
Yeah. And it's at the bit where we're talking about sexual purity, and then you rang the doorbell.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Anyway, you can go now. You're dismissed. All right, love you.
Love you too.
So yes, sexual purity. I'll be honest, when you get into a relationship and when you get, especially when you get engaged, it does take a little turn. You know what I mean? It just takes a little turn. You're getting closer and closer to the wedding day. Things ramp up, and you just have to really have the mind of Jesus. But God has been so gracious to me in this area and continues to strengthen me, not only up to marriage, but even in marriage, because even when you're married, you still need to be pure and there's still a calling of purity. So yes. What boundaries do you keep in your relationship? And I'm guessing this is in regards to purity. So yes, we do have boundaries. Yes, so we don't have sex, obviously. We try to limit all kind of physical stuff, whether it's kissing, hugging, touching, everything. It doesn't mean that we never ever do anything, by the way, guys. We're human beings and we are in a relationship. We have good days, bad days, whatever. But we limit everything to as much as possible. We are never really alone together, for too long in places we shouldn't be. We don't really do sleepovers and holidays and stuff like that. One thing that I think is important, and no one really asked me about this, but I'm gonna add my 2 pence here. I think it's important when you start dating, probably, so for me, it happened the second time me and Shola met up. You have a very honest conversation about what your perspective on purity is and what you feel comfortable doing before marriage, because I think it's would be really difficult to pursue purity if I was with someone that had a very different perspective on what being pure meant. But I think in regards to Shola and I, we do have very similar convictions, not exactly the same if I'm being 100% a buck, but very similar dispositions when it comes to that. How do you keep boundaries and still know you are attracted to one another? That is a very interesting question, because it is very true, and that's something we have had to think about even in our relationship, which I didn't think about before. Because you're so strict on boundaries, how do you know you have that kind of chemistry? And you know what? I think that this kind of goes to the importance of having intimacy outside of physical stuff, because I think when you have a level of intimacy that is beyond just touch, it makes you almost want to touch. Now that sounds creepy, but you know what I mean? But you have to have intellectual intimacy, emotional intimacy, obviously there's physical intimacy, financial intimacy, and that is what helps you lead into the physical stuff. I have experienced when me and Shola are really vibing, that's when I feel things inside of me tingling, but that's not for this channel right now, period. I really hope my parents don't watch this video. I might have to tell them don't watch this. Next section is relationship/dating. And the first question is, what made you know that your fiance was the one? So I don't think there was a set day that I thought, oh my gosh, Shola's the one for me, or I don't believe in the one, to be honest with you guys. I believe in not for you and for you, literally that's how I see it. But there were some instances where Shola did things, or our relationship showed me it was very different to the ones I'd been in before. For example, there was an event that I invited him to and a lot of my friends to, and on the day there was a train strike and a lot of people didn't show up, cancelled, didn't make the effort to come, and he still came. And not only did he come, but he brought other people to come and support me. And for me, that was probably the first time he really stood out as very different to me, because one of the things I prayed for before I got into a relationship, and was just praying for when I was praying for a husband, I said to God, I really want someone that shows up for me the way I show up for others. And as you guys can see, in my vlogs, I try my best to be there as much as I can for my friends. Not always perfect, don't get me wrong, but God has really given that to me in Shola. Shola is so reliable. He's so there for me. He so supports me and my family and my friends and everything that we do. And yeah, in what ways have you found Christian dating challenging? Good question. To be honest with you, I would say the biggest thing that I find challenging is the fact that you can't live with each other, because I do think not living with each other before marriage is a big risk, to be honest with you. It's a one that I'm willing to take for the sake of my purity and for the sake of living in the will of God. But I do think it is a big risk because there are some things that I would love to see in Shola or experience about Shola before I committed my life to him. And so obviously there are blind spots, being honest with you. And I've had to do a lot of prayer about that and acceptance about that, which is very difficult, but I think God has been very gracious to me in that, and he has also found other ways to reveal certain things to me in Shola, which have made me have some form of idea of what it might be like to live with him or to build a life with him. And I'm so gracious that God has helped me to see that prior to marriage, because it's allowed me to have a little glimpse of what I might need to just like kind of accept and what I might need to help him grow in, but maybe be a bit gentle with him. So yeah, it's getting dark, so I'm really trying to hurry up, guys. I'm so sorry if this lighting is a bit crappy. How has your idea of love changed since being in a relationship? Yes, good question. I would say I now see love as a ministry and I see it as a gift. So it's both. It's both a gift from God, because honestly, I couldn't have expected to be loved quite so dearly as I am, but it is a ministry in the sense that I see myself as a steward of it, and it's my responsibility to look after it and to nurture it and to grow it, just like I have a responsibility to do that with my finances and my ministries in church and, you know, other things in life. But I would also say, just to add to that, I never knew love could be, oh my god, this is cringy. I never knew love could be this beautiful. Like, obviously you expect love, and I expected it in one way. I expected it to look one way, and I've experienced it in a different way, and I'm so glad that God did it his way and not my way, because this has been quite literally the most beautiful experience of my entire life. Now on to wedding stuff. So first question is, hardest part of planning a wedding. I think the hardest part is definitely just remembering it's one day, and even though you want it to be the perfect day, it won't be. It's just not going to be. Things are going to go wrong. It is what it is. You'll still have a great day, and the less pressure you put on it being perfect, the more you enjoy the process of planning it, I would say. Next question is, where do you start when you make a budget? So for Shora and I, we made a list of all the big things like venue, catering, photographer, videographer, and then after that we picked what are our 3 top in priorities. So like, what are our like must-haves and we don't want to like scrimp on. So it could be venue, food, and videographer, or it could be dress, venue, and amount of guests. Whatever your thing is, you have to pick your 3 things, and then you have to make everything work around it. What are you most nervous about when it comes to the wedding? So the wedding itself, the thing I'm the most nervous about is probably, I don't know, that's a good question. I'm probably the most nervous about walking down the aisle, because I think it's a lot of people staring at you at once. The next section is about marriage and things about all things marriage, basically. So first question is, what are you the most excited about when it comes to getting married? I'm the most excited about traveling with Shola. Even though earlier I said I'm still going to do solo travel, which I absolutely am, I am the most excited about leaving this country with Shola and just experiencing new places, new people, new culture, new food, and just being thrown into a situation where we're completely like just with each other. Right guys, I had to turn the light on because it's getting a bit dark outside. I should have done this a little bit earlier. But someone has asked, what are you not looking forward to / struggling with the idea of when it comes to marriage? And yes, this is a good question. I think for me, the thing I'm struggling the most with, is the idea of changing my last name / not being a Walters anymore. But it's not just about like my last name, it's about the whole idea of like family, and I've had to really like, this is something I'm really praying about, but I really love being a Walters. I really love my family. I'm so jarring. What the heck? So yeah, how do you think your relationship with God will change when you get married? I I hope it doesn't change in the sense of like, oh, I hope it does change. Okay, so I hope it doesn't change in the sense of like, I hope that God is still my best friend like he currently is, but I hope it does change because I hope I become more reliant on him, because even in this relationship I've had to become more reliant on God and had to seek him more and had to put him first more. And I just hope that in my marriage I'm able to lean on God in a new way that I haven't had to before. But being honest with you, I do see myself struggling a bit more with devotional time, because I'm literally going to be sharing a bed with someone, and my devotional time is usually in the morning as soon as I wake up. So I don't know how that dynamic is going to work, because Sean leaves for work before me. So I don't really know how it's going to work, but I'm going to make it work, because me and God forever, period. Does your family get on with Shola? Yes. Good question. Yeah, they do. They do. Like a house on fire. I literally couldn't have asked for a better situation there. He gets on with them all very, very well. Like, he's here every day, so they don't really have a choice. He's literally here every day. So guys, that is the end of the Q&A. I have been recording for an hour and a half now, so I doubt I will include everything. So if I didn't leave your question in, I apologize. I'll put it into the next Q&A that I do. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the little catch up. Next week we'll be back to the vlogs. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.